How about now? Seems to be working. Alright. Every time the audio doesn't work. I don't know why it does that. And also, I've upgraded my computer, so everything should be running much better. And the encoding should be much smoother. And yeah, now people are talking because they can hear me. Alright, today I'm going to be building a really cheap temperature sensor because I want to do like home automation. So they're going to be using an ESP8266, a really simple temperature sensor, no humidity or anything like that, a cheap low power voltage regulator, and like 3 AAA batteries. And you can see the image in the thumbnail about what it's going to look like. And they're just going to be like really simple. So they're not going to take very long to make. Let me just get some Instagram people in here. Hey, what's up everyone? I am live streaming on my YouTube channel right now, and you can come check it out. I'm doing a KiCad design for a cheap temperature sensor. Come check it out. Yeah, I think you could do that. I don't see why not. I haven't used that specific system. For this one, I'm actually going to set up like a separate router for like the automation, the home automation, and so that way it's not on my, it's not like cluttering. If I have like 16 temp sensors in the house, they'll be on their own Wi-Fi network. What's up, Michael? Hey, Amal. How you doing? Hey, Robin. How's it going, man? Alright, let's get into this. We got a blank file here. I have like templates that I can just like copy and paste into a new folder and rename them all, so that I've already renamed this one ESP Temp. It's going to be like a series of projects that are going to be like for home automation. So this one's going to have like a temperature sensor in every room in my house, and I'm planning on having a controller that will control like the AC or the heat, and then also the vents so that they'll like open and close. That'll be in the future at some point. Let's see here. ESP Temp. Add the date. Got all that stuff. So we'll start off by adding all the components. I already know basically what I'm going to be using, so I shouldn't have to make anything. We'll start off with the ESP12E because I have a whole bunch of those left over from a project. Probably couldn't help you do that, but I would suggest just, because off the top of my head, like I said, I haven't used that system, the MQTT, so you would probably have to watch some videos or something and sort it out. Okay, so we got the module. Let's just start by adding all components. What else? The temperature sensor won't be here, I don't think. What am I using? So this will use, like, you can use either the really cheap temperature sensor, I'll find the name in a second, or you can use it slightly more expensive, but the Maxim, this one here, it's a little bit more money, but you can get it right from DigiKey, so you don't have to wait a long time for them to ship overseas. It's the Max 31820. I don't know if it exists in this. It does. Cool. So we don't really have to make anything for this, I don't think. Any custom stuff, which is awesome. That'll save a bunch of time. So there's the temperature sensor. Voltage regulator, what are we using? Found this one. Oh yes. It's kind of cool. MCP 1700. It comes in TO92 package, which is one of these. And this was missing the middle leg. And it's kind of cool. It does 250 milliamps at anything greater than 2.5 volts. Let's see here. So we'll be using, it's not there, 292. Using this one. So yeah, you can give it up to 6 volts. It'll output 3.3, and it's got a really low quiescent, never know how to say that, current. So when it's not using any current, say when the ESP is asleep, it's going to be, the regulator is not really going to be using any current, which is awesome, which is what we want. This is going to have 3 batteries in it on the back, and you'll see when we get to the actual PCB design. So this is a pretty cool thing. I've never used it before, and it should have enough current. I think the ESP8266 uses 180 milliamps max, and the temperature sensor really doesn't use much, and maybe we'll have an LED. So we're not going to be hitting that 250 milliamp limit, and even if we do, the dropout probably isn't going to be enough to kill the ESP. It's not going to happen, but in the chance that you go over 250, it's only going to drop like a couple volts. I mean, a couple millivolts. I think down to like 3 volts if you go over slightly. Not a big deal. So that's available too. Awesome. Hey Humphrey. Yeah, I'll be having videos come out soon. I'm not going to do it on the PC build, but it's just not, I just had to get it together, and you know, it's one of those things that I was like taking components. I was kind of piecing together 2 computers to make my computer better. So I picked up an i7 8700K, which is awesome. So we got a lot more power than before. I hadn't upgraded my computer in like 6 years, I think. I was running on the 3750K, the i5. So for what I'm doing, this is so much better, and everything's working really well. Hey Connor, how's it going? Alright, we got just components floating around here. This is what happens when I live stream. Get distracted, but that's okay. Let's, what else do we need? Well, we need the, I'm putting on a rotary hex switch. So I think that's in here actually. What's it called? Let me look it up. So I'll be using this, and this will give me the option to change the sensors from 0 to 16, 0 to 15, so that we can have 15 sensors, but I'm also going to put another selector, so we'll actually be able to do 32. I don't think I'll do more than 16, but if someone wants to do more, then they can. And this will make it easy to write one set of firmware for them, and then you can just select which room is which hex value. Really cool. Alright, SH1700. There they are. I think it's that one. So we got that. And now we need the basic stuff for the ESP32. So we need, let's see, we need to pull down on, let's get some resistors in here. I like using these R smalls. A good board, here's one here. I always like to suggest Adafruit stuff. I mean, it's always well documented and it's really great to use. So this is, what is this? This is the Huzzah Feather ESP8266. And it's got everything you will need on it, even a battery charger. For Node MCU. Well, if you're using Node MCU, I actually haven't done really any projects with Node MCU. But basically any, like the, this will work with it, I believe. But Node MCU and Arduino, that using the IDE, they're different. So if you want to use Arduino, then you're not using Node MCU basically. Does that make sense? Okay, so I like to use these R smalls. So we need one for, I think, GPO 15. Can't remember, just going off the top of my head. Need to pull up on CHPD, I believe. What else do we need? No, don't need on GPIO 2. That's where our one wire is going to be. And we need one for GPIO, no, for reset. We need a button. Push. And we're going to start adding grounds and powers and things. We're also going to have the connected GPIO 16 to the reset line so we can automatically wake up the ESP8266 on its own at some set interval. So yeah. Oh, and we need a header to program it, so what do we need for that? RxTX and just the power. So we'll just do 4. Alright. Add some power lines. Also, I'm using KiCad 5, if anyone notices. It's great. No issues, really. I had to fix a couple of my old boards to load them, but it went pretty smoothly. That. What? Now, do we want to power the temp sensor all the time? Or do we want to turn it on? I don't think it uses much power at all when it's just at idle. I'm going for really cheap here, so the fewer components the better. And I'm not using the parasitic version. Don't ask me why, I just might as well set it up for this one, and then if you want to use the other one, you can. You can just cut the lead off or not connect it to 3.3 volts. Okay, we'll just leave that for now. One over here, pull-ups. Be out 3. Let's turn this around. Alright, one here. Oh, also want a jumper switch, except I'll probably just do a header and then put a jumper over it. Guess I don't need 3, I can just do the 2. It's really nice, there's a lot more components and symbols. Oh, and we need the battery connector, which is just going to be three AAAs. So we're going to get 4.5 volts at maximum and a minimum of like hopefully more than 3.3. But the ESP32 should work below that. We'll also put a diode in so that it can supply the voltage if it goes below what the voltage regulator can handle. Throw some grounds in here. Let's flip this. Oh, wrong way. Go. And we'll throw some bypass capacitors. That. Sure, one here. On the output. Start throwing some wires on here, connecting components. Oh, need the ground. So what's everyone been working on? Any cool projects out there? Start throwing things on here. Let's see. Get reset. That over here. Push button. The reset button, I mean. This is going to be 10K. And a push button for the, let's see here. reset. This will be boot. Boot goes to ground. This is so you can program it. Again, avoiding components. There are different ways you can do this, but got the two switches. And I'm trying to remember what the configuration is for what's required for the ESP8266 to run properly. Let's look some things up. GPIO 15 needs to be pulled down. Over 10K. CHPD. Which for some reason this module doesn't have. Maybe it's enable. Yes, pin 3, CHPD. Needs to be pulled up with a 10K. And GPIO 2 needs to be pulled up with a 10K. Multiplexer control software. Cool, what was that for? What were you multiplexing? Like probably a display of some sort, right? I'm going to leave the LED off of GPIO 0. Don't need it. Battery, ground, here, and then on the other side we'll have the battery as well. Not sure I even need this. Don't think it needs any components actually. It's kind of a cool regulator, but throw it on there anyways. Oh, I forgot our switch. Switch. That's some labels. What do we have left? So we have to connect the selector switch plus the extra jumper. All these new components. That's pretty cool. Broadcast type switching. I see. Is that like your profession? Is that what you do for a job? Alright, so this is the data line. See, these temperature sensors are kind of cool in the sense that if you want to, I'm not doing it this way, but if you want to, you can use what's called a parasitic type sensor, which actually gets the power from the data line. So you can send it signals and that will power it and allow it to send signals back. So it uses a library called the one wire, which means that it only takes one wire to send data and to receive data. So it's interesting that you can also power it through that as well. So you're actually using one wire to just power the device, send the data to the device, and then read the data back from the device. It's pretty cool. We'll just call this temp. I haven't really decided what pin I was going to put this on yet. So we need 5 for the selector. and 1 for the temperature sensor, and then the RX and TX. Let's shrink these down. Those are kind of large. Okay. XD for this device. Here. Trying to mix these up. Where is a... Okay, I got a little serial programmer here. RX in, TX out. Doesn't really matter, because I'll just be using a wire anyways. Some jumper wires. So let's make sure we got enough IOs for this. I know some things act weird. I'm just going to change this to a 6-pin. Change these around so they're in the right position. So we want ground, pin 6, skip a pin, RX, TX, like that. Because that'll let me plug in my little FTDI thing that I have. I have so many of them, it's hard to decide, but I feel like more people have this one, so if people are going to be recreating this, it'll be easier for them. Otherwise, you can just use jumper wires and put them wherever you have to. So these will need pull-up resistors. And we'll go with 10K. Well, I use the Atmel Ice. I don't have any experience with the J-Link. I am going to be bootloading the HTC modules. They still have to come in. And actually I'm just doing one final visual test on the boards before they get assembled. And yeah, then I'll be adding the bootloaders to 1,000 of them. Should be really fun. What's happening here? Go. Hey Gustavo, how's it going? Yeah, KiCad's pretty awesome. It's better than everything else. I'll probably get some hate for that. Okay, let's see. We call this selection 1. Sure. So I can probably just use internal pull-ups for these, but I'm going to add them anyways, just in case. Let's give everything a little bit more room. Yeah, I've wanted to do this for a while, and I have to order some more boards, so figured I'd do it. It's not overly complicated, not too much to think about. Just needs to be done. It'll be a start of a much larger project, so that's kind of cool. Hoping to have the whole house temperature system automated. Device ID. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. This needs to go to reset with a jumper, just in case I want to take it off. I started out using Eagle, but at the time I wasn't really building boards for profit or as a job, so I hit the limitations of the Eagle pretty quickly in the board size, and because I wasn't actually selling boards, I was just doing it for fun as like a hobby. I wasn't going to get an Eagle license, so I started using KiCad, and for me it's much more intuitive. I didn't like the way Eagle had like component selection and pin mapping and stuff like that. So Eagle works much better for how I use it, at least. It's a huge jumper. But I know people that use all sorts of different software, and there's no one best one for everyone. I really like KiCad 5 though. it's working really well. Pull this. Almost made a mistake here. Alright, S4. We'll call this S5. And we'll just send that to ground. Okay, so this jumper here for GPIO 16, for those that don't know, on the ESP 8266, if there's a built-in GPIO 16 will actually trigger if you set the sleep mode to a certain amount of time. It will trigger the reset so that it'll wake the chip back up. So if you jumper GPIO 16 to reset, you can automatically have it turn back on without having to externally interrupt it. Now if you're using your own timer or like an accelerometer or something, you can connect that directly to reset. But that's why I put a jumper here in case you want to change it. Okay, so the GPIOs. For the device selection, what do we want to use for this? Go 4. And then S1. Two. The ESP 8266 is always a little bit confusing for what pins you can use. I'm pretty sure all these are connected to the flash chip. I'm not sure what GPIO 9 and 10 do on the flash chip, but I think they are connected to it. So I'm not sure they can be used. I think GPIO 2 can be used. So I might use that as this final selector, but I think it needs to be pulled up when it boots. Pretty sure. Yeah, it just needs to be high when you're programming it. Okay, wait. So when GPIO 15 is high, then it doesn't care. But when it's low, GPIO 0 and 2. Alright, I see. So it needs to be high. So we'll leave it high for now, and if we do more than 16, then you can add like a jumper. So I think that's all the components I can think of right now. Obviously there's some things that are not connected because I forgot. And we also want to add, an LED so we know it's doing something. But what pin will we add that to? Well, we'll add it to, what's the ADC pin? We'll just hook it up to GPIO 9 and see if it causes any issues. We have 15. I think this needs a 1K actually. And yeah. If it does cause issues, we just won't connect it. Alright. Seems to be everything we need for that, so we'll give them all some footprints. I think the search is much better in KiCad 5. Seems to take a long time, but I think it's on a slow drive. So that's my own fault. Wow, really going slow. Okay, so the battery, oh, that's one thing we don't have. I think I used one before in a previous project. I think I used it in some neural network robot. Yep, found it. Okay. So I'm just going to throw it in here. AAA battery holder. I'm going to close this and reopen it. Oh, there's one here already. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to use. Go with 0805s for this. I gotta add values for those. LED 603 because I have a million of them. Our switch is just going to be a jumper. Did they change this? Oh, cool. They've arranged them in their sizes. All right. For now, it'll just be pin headers for the switch because I think I just want to use a regular, as I mentioned, a regular pin header so that you can just add a jumper on it. Let's see if these jumpers are here now. Cool. Close both of those again. 0805 resistors. Switch. Button switch. Oh, no battery. And, oh yeah, this. I think these fit it. I'm going to have to double check the footprint. I couldn't actually find the footprint for the rotary switch before. So I'll double check the size, make sure it fits. RF module is, so these are already selected, that's kind of cool. Great, so, well actually I made a custom one because I'm going to be putting these surface mount, just so they're kind of cool. So see, I made a footprint that is surface mount for the TO92 package. Hey, Cerebral Dad, how's it going? Thanks for coming out. This should be a pretty easy design to put together. So once we have these, possibly the dog freaks out at the mail truck. I think there's some mail here. I'm gonna go check. Was it actually that loud on the? Doesn't sound that loud in my room, but can't be louder than my voice, right? Yeah, he's a pretty loud dog. I'm expecting a DigiKey package today, so actually I should have some of this stuff, but I don't have this board made yet, so at least I know what I'm doing. Okay, so that looks like we've got everything. We'll generate the net list and open the board. Now, I've already designed the board and have the DXF of it. Just need to bring it over. We'll import it into here. Wrong folder. Alright, there we go. So it's a simple design. See, it's got two cutouts here. One's for the power regulator, the other is for the temp sensor, and the regulator obviously doesn't have to be in a cutout, but I'm just doing it for design purposes because it's kind of cool. Okay. Put this on grid. This is the one annoying thing about this, but it doesn't really matter where I put it as long as everything's in line. So if we bring in all the footprints, there we go. The battery is going to go on the back, but I may put the battery in after. where's center? Let's see here. X 190.42. Yeah, no one was killed by the dog, but people are definitely scared by him. He doesn't like when people come to the front door. He grew up in a place where like no one ever came to the door. So he never really learned how to handle it. He's just kind of like a reactive dog. No, these are just going to be AAA regular batteries so that they can just be replaced, not rechargeable. Hopefully they should last like a year, I'm hoping, but we'll see. Now I'm kind of thinking of doing, well, see, because I don't know how much the cost difference is. Because I don't want to put a charger on each one, because that's would defeat the purpose of them being really cheap, because they're not going to be charging all the time. But I also don't, so each battery I would get, I'd probably put like 1,000 milliamp hour or something. So then that's like $10 each. So I think like 3 AAAs is like $1. So, you know, cheap is the goal. If you can do like, if the batteries cost $1 for a year, then it would be, and like a rechargeable is $8, then I can run it for 8 years before a rechargeable battery is needed. Yeah, that was him actually in his, my girlfriend put him in his bed. He still barks. He'll go to his bed. He's really loud, but if it's just, I can tell him to just like sit, but he'll just sit there and bark at the person when I'm getting the mail. So like, it's just like really, like he just wants to bark. He's like not angry. He's like kind of more excited, and he'll just sit there and wait for me to get the mail. But it's really loud. That's the only problem. It's not like any concern with him being scared or anything. Yeah, no, this is like I've been. This dog is set in his ways. He's really smart, but he does the things he wants to do. Like a lot of training time has gone into him, so he knows what's going on. He just chooses to do that forever, and will always do that until he gets too old to do it. I think, well, first of all, 18650s would be like this big. So if anything, I would do 14, what are they called? 14440s or something? 14400s, which are like the tiny version of 18650s. But again, cheap sensor, cheap components, no charger. If you're doing 16 of these, every time you add $1, it's another $16. So if you want to do every room in your house, you have to think like what's the cheapest way you can do it. And anytime you add a charging circuit or anything, you're going to be adding at least $1, but probably more. So as usual, there's more components than you expect, but it's okay. Let's get rid of these ground planes. Okay, this is that's the battery, that's the temp sensor. Okay, so we want some arbitrary angle. What angle is this? X 360 120. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to have to make the slots bigger. I'm just going for as cheap as possible, so yeah, I don't have a specific budget, but cheap components, and I mean, like, I have a lot of this stuff already, so I'm not doing it in terms of like what I can afford. Like, I have a million ESP A266s, so like those are basically free. And you know, I already have these battery holders, so that's another thing that's making it cheaper, but I'd like them to be inexpensive, and if you have like 16 of something, it doesn't really make sense in my head to have like a LiPo charger built into them. So that kind of defeats the purpose of having like rechargeable batteries. LiPo batteries, if I was using like the cells, I don't actually know offhand what the cost is, but again, if I was to use like what I typically use, like these, I think they're around $7 or $8 each. Remember, I'm talking in Canadian dollars here. So, like I said, if it costs $1 for 3 AAAs and they're gonna last 8 months or something, then I could get like 8 months times $8 worth of time before one LiPo would be worth it, because I'm not even putting a charger on here. So cost is always the fight in engineering, to make things as cheap as possible and as best as possible, but also I want them to be simple, and I don't want them to be like anything more than literally a temperature sensor that takes the reading and sends it to a server, because the whole house is going to be like controlled, and it doesn't really need anything more than that. I can't control humidity, so like, not really. So like, yes, I can run AC in a room, but I can't control humidity in the sense that I can control humidity and temperature. So yeah, so like, they're just gonna do temperature for now at least, and then maybe have like a separate humidity thing. So what I want to be able to do is control the vents and the furnace and the AC, and say I want my office to be 22 degrees, but I want all the downstairs to be 24, then basically I can go into like this web app that I plan on creating, click on my office, turn it to 22, and what it's going to do is going to look at all the temperatures, decide which vents it needs to open and close with the AC, and then cool it down until it gets 22, and if the rest of the house is good, then turn off, that kind of thing. So I plan on finding a really cheap vent cover as well that I can modify really easily and make everything like really easy to do, 3D printable, with like a motor and like maybe a D-cell battery or something. Like, again, not rechargeable, because these are just vents that are going to be in place in the house with no plug nearby. So these are all things that I've been thinking about, and so far that's what I think is the best way to do it. So this is just strictly for design. This is the power regulator. It's just to look symmetrical, so they're gonna be cool. Yeah, like there are things that make sense to be rechargeable, but then sometimes it's like it's easier. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know a better way to explain it, but that's what makes sense to me. And I'm just thinking like a cool design, so there's that. Maybe I don't need to modify the design. Maybe I can just change these. No, I'm not gonna do that. Just change the design real quick. And then we'll select just the board outline. Take off everything. This is a cool thing you can do in KiCad. Only select the board outline layer. Move it. Delete it. And reopen the new design. Which won't go into place, of course. Of course, I'm going to position everything more accurately. Plug these into the wall? Yeah, but you can't assume that there's going to be a vent near an outlet everywhere. Unless you're talking about smoke alarms. But yeah, you don't want to be ripping out drywall and stuff just to put in a smoke alarm if it's a requirement of the house. That would be not ideal. It depends on how much work you want to do, how permanent something is. The dog's freaking out for no reason. Oh yeah, totally. If I was building, like most of the stuff in my house is wired like Ethernet anyways. Because like, you just get better speeds. Like I plan on having like a NAS server and like I work throughout different places. Yes, Wi-Fi works really well, but just like having a wired connection in certain circumstances. Okay, let's start centering things. Let's add the ground plane so we can get some of these rat's nests out of here. And I just like to duplicate it. And turn it to the bottom layer. Wi-Fi goes down, you don't have a car? That's the future. It's pretty cool though. Alright. Let's just get these things on here. We got buttons. What is this? R4. Reset. It's kind of lagging a little bit. Huh. Oh, maybe I was on... Where did that go? Oh, there it is. It was on like OpenGL mode. I don't know. Whatever I was on, it was making it kind of lag a little. GPL 15. Oh, okay. Thought you meant like your car can't do like firmware upgrades or something, like Tesla. But it's got built-in LTE, right? So. All these components that you don't expect to be needed, they end up on here anyways. Going more for symmetrical than anything else. I might change the pad size. Oh, no, those are okay. Oh, wait. No, they should change. They're probably going to give an error in the DRC. Move this down. Who's having a bad day? Not me. Alright, S2. I'm going to lock this footprint back here. So that it doesn't move. I hate when there's like a giant footprint behind the stuff you're trying to do. Let me just make it disappear a little bit. So I'll straighten everything out with like using the actual dimensions after I've placed them. So it looks all neat and tidy. Not really necessary, but I like to do it. Actually, these need to be. No auto route. Actually, I don't even know how to auto route in KiCad. I think you have to like import your own scripts or like third-party software or something, right? Never done it. Auto track width. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you have to like download different software just to do it. What's this one for? C2. So this isn't totally necessary, and it's really not going to make a difference, but because this board won't really be making any heat, this thing will only be on for like a very short amount of time. So basically, this is going to solder on here, with the legs, the TO92, and they're going to float in this hole. So there's nothing behind here, and then the case actually has holes in it, so it's just more free air. It's not touching as much. That's the idea. It's not a temperature critical application as long as it's within like the correct degree. It'll be good enough. So this will just allow more air to go around this. And this is just, as I said, for show. For design aesthetics. Just like the BFR. Anyone catch that, the stream from SpaceX? Elon saying it's a little bit more risky in the design they chose, but it looked better. I think it looks pretty cool. Throw the LED somewhere down here. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the whole thing. I won't be going to the moon, but I think it'll be pretty cool when people do. Okay, so this circle is centered, so what I do is take that value, the X value, and then I can put it on here and it will center things. So if I want this centered, it'll center it there. Center these. Those should all be in line now. this. Oh no, this won't be because the center point for this isn't here, it's here. Oh, are they? Yeah, that stuff is so awesome to watch. I love it. It's like getting me so excited about all this. More excited than I already was. It's a crazy time to be interested in this stuff. Kind of really only the place to put the programming header. That should be fine there though. Might move it over actually. Look at my design. Okay. Alright. It's not overly complicated. Doesn't look great right now, but we'll just start throwing down some traces. It's the only way to get started. So we're just over an hour and a half in. A little slower than I wanted, but there are some things to sort out. So let's start positioning everything so that it's even. So that's not good. 100.5, so I'll do that on this side. Yeah. I will try that. It's funny, I knew about the alignment thing because I would do it when I'd have like a whole bunch of components on top of each other, but I never thought about doing it in this. Interesting. Very cool. Thank you for that. That's going to save some time. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm not going to over-the-air future updates because now people could do this, but the issue is they're going to be sleeping like 95% of the time, if not more. So they'll never. I don't know how that works in the sense that if you want to give over-the-air firmware updates, if it's asleep, if it'll wait until it takes the next. I guess you could put something in the code that checks for a new update before it sends the temperature sensor. I don't know how much time that would add, but that's totally a possibility. So yeah, when it comes to the code, we'll see. That might be a possibility. Okay, so how do I align? How do I make a center? How do I make like a permanent line that's in the center? And then align things to it. So if I take something, drawings, and make a line, right? I set it to the center of this. keep selecting this. That's why. So if I set, this is all new stuff. Like I normally just do it manually. It doesn't take very long, but I don't know if I should be learning it on stream. But I could set. Right, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think that would be an interesting thing to add. I don't know how many firmware updates they would require, but I guess if I wanted to send different values or things like that. Okay, let's see. Interesting. Don't know if I should be learning new things on stream though. You're saying shift arrow keys to snap, but I don't see that happening. Anyways, this should be good enough. Good enough. This is definitely key. I'm normally not super precise with this stuff, but lately, if it's something simple, then see, because like otherwise I'll like obsess about it. But it's nice to get like a few things right. This? Yeah, I could rename it. I might not even have these. Like, often I'll just set them to invisible. Because you can just look them up in Schematic and they're also just all 10K. So, I tend to do that for a lot of things. Yeah, I could align these. I kind of want them. I want enough space for my finger to hit. Let's see. Let's see how that looks. What does this do? So that aligns to the left. I got you. Okay. I want this to this. It moves that one. Every time? I'm pretty sure I selected that one first, right? So oops. Fail. So I'm just trying to see what it does, but what's determining which one is first? Because I'm pretty sure I selected the resistor first sometimes. Yeah, the resistor moves every time. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I could do that too. I mean, see what happens? You fall down the rabbit hole once you start doing this stuff. I see what you mean. Switch 3, yeah. I'll just leave it for now, but yeah. because that'll add a few minutes. Let's get some other stuff horizontally aligned. As long as they're close enough. Get rid of this. I know how LEDs work. Wait. Yeah, the new am I missing silk screen? The new LED doesn't show the direction. That's weird. In KiCad, that's that is strange. I don't know what color these are going to be yet, but those aren't going to be facing out. Well, this one will be, but those will be facing inward, so the programmer header will be on the inside. Yeah. Yeah. Good enough. I'm sure the switches could move. See, it's weird to me, those don't look same. Anyways. I think that's pretty good. If you guys see anything else, I don't. It's good enough for me. Now I'll have to do these traces like freehand. Apparently the new KiCad 5, oh yeah, doesn't let you go past the board edge. The other one just completely ignored it. This might be too close to the let's align these. So I might take off all these labels and then add my own custom silk screen. Probably not on stream because the Photoshop gets kind of not fun to watch, I think. Especially when I'm going back and forth with things. I say that as I'm aligning components on a board. Alright, let's start routing some stuff. Whoa. That was weird. So I'm going to freehand that. I think one of the shortcuts on the keyboard changed. Oh, it's not happy. Okay, yeah, I gotta modify these real quick. I'll make these skinnier. So these aren't any like design or anything, these are just my own. Design, I'm guessing that will work just fine. I meant to change those. Alright. Probably could have just gotten away with that. So it's supposed to be a free angle and it's not. Alright. Could have sworn that was where the 45. Anyways, we'll leave that for now. Yeah, it's just gonna do that. I need to turn off the like the 45 rule, but I thought it was there. I thought it was the free angle mode. It's not. Some of the things have changed, definitely. Yeah, the 45 angle rule, but I can't remember where it is. See, I thought it was this free angle mode. It tracks to 45 degrees. See, that didn't do anything. Okay. See, that's off, and it's still doing that. Well, that worked. I just chose legacy tool set. That looks kind of stupid. Probably fix that later. Actually, I'm going to change these pad size one more time to 0.8. Okay. Ugh. So it's definitely not without issues. Because the legacy tool set is definitely not perfect. Yeah, I definitely have to fix that later. Let's just route a bunch of the signal stuff first. So that's there. That's there. Traces fit to there, yes. Okay. Unchange what? The program? Wish I knew how. S1, S3, S2. So that's another thing, is when you're moving these around, they're going to end up in different places to make it better for routing. So where's 2, S3? Now I could also change them in the schematic as well, so that might end up happening also. Because these don't really matter which one they're connected to, because we're just going to change it in the firmware, obviously. Where's S5? S5 isn't even connected to anything. Oh yeah, that's right. We never connected it. What were we going to connect it to in the schematic? I don't think anything. Yeah, I don't think we were going to connect them to anything. Okay. So we'll go back here. So we want S1 going here, S2 going here, so S2 is good. S3, S4. So we want to change S2 and S3 and S1 and S4. Right? Actually, I think we want to change that. I love when I clicked random software to open on my Canada Post. Okay. What was that? We're just past 2 hours, so well, we'll get this routed quickly. Just a little bit of slowness getting this sorted out, figuring out where the pins should go so it's like a neat thing. So this actually has to be S1, S3, that's right, and then S4, and S2 is right. So S1 and S4 have to change. Generate netlist every time. Okay, there we go. S1, S3, S4, S2. I'm only doing this to like minimize having to use vias and things like that. I could just route it as sloppily as I want, but it's better if I do this. Let's see if this works. Oops. Problem is, there's like 100 ways to do each thing. And in the end, you just end up doing it whatever way you get tired of switching things around. What the heck? Something screwed up there. Alright. Menu tools, update PCB from schematics. Yeah? Is there a shortcut? Alright, let's see. Is that in the schematic side? Gotcha. Nice. So is there a hotkey for that? Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. Hey AP Tech, how's it going? Yeah, FPGA of PCB routing. Fix it in software. Yeah, I wish. Well, I mean, I could just add vias all over the place, but yeah. What was I gonna change there? I think it was this one. Yeah. Wow. Wow, this is bad. Okay, this is the last change. If it doesn't work, I'm just throwing in vias. Believe me. Yeah, I have top and bottom layer, but I'm just kind of weird when it comes to using too many vias and things. So, yeah. This is ESP8266. Because I've got a bunch of them sitting in a box. I'm tired of staring at them. So I'm making a wireless temperature sensor for my house. It'll go in every single room in the house. So I'm going to build, I think 14 of them is what I need. Yes, working with angles in KiCad is not, weird angles is not fun, but here, I'll use a via here. And we'll go back to legacy mode. Just to not put a weird angle. Yeah, I could have fixed it in software, I know, but like I was saying, I hate putting vias all over the place. I don't know why I have that mentality. I think it was when I think I remember like ordering from when I was first learning PCB design, like some companies like before PCBWay and OSH Park, if you wanted like routing, if you wanted PCBs made quickly, it was like hundreds of dollars, and I think they like charged more for the number of vias you had or something stupid like that. And I think since then, I feel like I've always just tried to avoid using vias. we'll just start putting vias everywhere. I gotta get out of that mentality. I mean, when it comes to power lines, it doesn't really bother me that much. Basically. But if I am trying to get something done really quick, I have no problem just going crazy with the design and having it be terrible. Like, see, that is unnecessary. I like this interactive trace thing now. Whoa. What? That was weird. No, it's not working. Do I have it turned off? Interactive drag, yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's true. Although sometimes vias help when you're like trying to probe a board, so they can help in that way, but I often get them covered anyway, so. Hey Brian, what's up? Also have a funny thing about using really tiny traces when you've got lots of board space, even though it doesn't matter at all, it's just a signal, like it's such a small amount. These can go away. So I'm going to break this one out. Yeah, they work great for testing points. Of course, I often order them covered, so just because I don't select not covered, not because I really care, but let's see here. 8. Why, what makes it look nicer? Just curious. I haven't used Easy EDA. It's actually a lot better in KiCad 5, but yeah, it's pretty good. It doesn't screw up as much and freeze and one trace on U2. Yeah, KiCad would sometimes freeze if you tried to do a crazy routing path, and then you'd lose all your work. But yeah, if it can't do that, yeah, KiCad is really nice for that. U2. Which one? Oh, this. Here, wait. This is what I like to do on power signals. Proper way. So I'll take this. Priority 1. What? I just clicked it. So you go to the edge of the trace like this. So net J1 pad 2. Here. Solid, no thermal relief. And then we can get all fancy. Now, look at that. Of course, it's not. Didn't I say fill zone 1? There we go. Yeah, because that looks kind of dumb, but yeah, that's what I normally do. You can change it around. That looks even worse, but you get the idea though. Normally I do it for, it's normally a bigger deal to do it for coming off of a USB. I want to like widen it off of a little tiny USB pin so that there's like less resistance. But there's no real nice way to do this. Also, I didn't have to use 1 mil. I think that's the bigger issue. That's good enough. And yeah, now I realize that the power thing probably would have been better over here, since the main line to the ESP is up there, but whatever, we'll just run it underneath the board. Yeah, it is bigger. It didn't have to be. I could change it now, but it's too late. We're leaving it. Yeah, it is. It is larger. I hate how I have to go to legacy mode just to place a trace. Boot's over there. Okay. We'll bust out some vias for this. How about that? Also, they label the vias now, which is kind of cool. I don't think they were before, so it helps out a bit. Stupid stuff like this sometimes it bugs me, but not so bad. I should use an auto router, is that what you're saying? I've had such bad experience with auto routers that it's honestly like taking. I've done things where it's taken just. Where it's like. It's taken just as long basically to auto route and then fix it than it would have just to not auto route in the first place. That like I've never really gone back. It's pretty crazy. Eagle Auto Router was both good and bad. Very bad. Some funny looking traces, but that's how it goes. There are definitely some boards that I would have done it with if it existed. It's okay, so like if I auto routed this board, the hate comes from like, see these 4 lines? It might have taken these 4 lines, taken this one, gone down, put a via, gone up, put a via, and then taken this one, and then taken like this line, via'd over this one that just via'd under, like went all the way around. So what it does is just like, I'm sure there's some really good ones now, but from what I experienced, it's just like it would have 4 vias for a line that doesn't need any. Like that's what I've experienced. I'm sure they're a lot better. I've wanted to try and make one using like, I don't know, a neural network or something to try out different things. I'm sure they're not that bad. That's just my experience. That's funny. Look at that. when I was learning PCB design, the person who was teaching me was very strict about certain things, like 45s. No 90 degrees. Vias on every ground, every surface mount ground, which is obviously a good rule. All of them are good rules, but they were very strict. Come 90 right out of that? Sure. What happens if I try to move this whole thing? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool. Why I keep moving this is because I'm trying to stay away from these mounting screws, because I don't like things that are going to rub on the rub on the trace. Or the via. When it comes down to it, it doesn't really matter. Alright, it's a little bit crazy, but oh, we've lost the ground. Just move this down. There we go. And this is what I was talking about, putting grounds and vias on everything. Eagle is not free. Eagle is free to a board of certain dimensions and only 2 layers as far as I'm aware. Maybe 4? I can't remember. So once you go over that board size, you're limited. You can't work any further. And like I mentioned earlier, when I was learning PCB design, like I wasn't doing it for work. I was just doing it for fun, so I wasn't looking to buy an Eagle license. But I also hit the limitations, and I didn't want to hit the limitations. So I learned KiCad, and I stuck with it. And I don't know how much better Fusion, like, I think if I wanted to integrate KiCad with Fusion, I don't think there'd be too much issue, right? Yeah, I have definitely have. One of the times that I've ordered boards before, and you know, in KiCad you have to hit B to like update the copper layer, and if you don't do that, it sticks to the old copper layer, and it'll actually put like see if I do this. See how the copper layer hasn't been updated? If you export your PCB like this and don't hit B, then it'll actually just put the traces over top of each other. And I've done that before, and then I was like, oh great, like my LED has the silk screen, but it's just literally on the copper layer. So that was one time I kind of messed that up. Okay, so the keep out is not keep. So we'll get rid of that. And we'll just do the whole top here. So we'll just get rid of this whole top with copper. This hole does not need to be here. It was just a reference. Control. Duplicate this. We'll go on the bottom there. Oh, you can just do one more. These over here? Yeah, these are just the serial lines. I'm just going to use the standard like FTDI pinout. And I don't really know where else to put them. I need to double check that this is going to fit my my component that I chose. Oh, so it's just 2.5 for spacing. That looks good. That looks good. That's good. Yeah. Looks good. Oh yeah, I was adding vias. That's right. Okay. Is that it? I'll do the logo and stuff off stream. Of course, we'll add no. Add a library. Hold on. Oops. Project specific. Project logos. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Oh. Let's see, missed a couple comments here. Oh yeah, auto reset programmer. Cool. Yeah, I didn't attach the boot and things to that. I guess I probably could have looked into it, but it would save me buttons. I was trying to be cheap. These buttons are like 35 cents each. I may modify that off stream. We'll see. You might be right. That might be a good idea. Let's see. I use PCBWay generally. I have contacts there. I've just always used them. I can like earn a percentage of people that order boards from there, so that's kind of cool. And those just go directly to my projects. It's kind of neat. So yeah, I'll check out that ESP programmer, because if I can just attach these two to the boot and the reset, then that's gold. Alright, Cerebral Dad, take care. When am I sending out the Kickstarter? Probably sometime, hopefully sometime in October is the, no specific dates yet. I went over the design, the final boards came in. I wanted to make sure everything was good before I ordered like 1,000 of them. So I'll be doing that shortly, and then whenever they finish them, send them to me, which I think is about 20 days. Then, yeah, I'll start shipping them. It's kind of expensive. Well, yeah, probably, maybe just make my own. Yeah, so I think that is it for the design today. I don't think I'm going to make it white. I think it's going to be, I don't know, green. Possibly green with the two things there. Okay. That looks pretty tidy. And if I put these pins in, then I might not need to put the buttons on, but could always leave them. This is just the power pin. Yeah. Looking good. Don't see any issues. And it'll have a really simple 3D printed housing. So, yeah, as I showed in this. So the idea. And this will be 3D printed. Batteries will be in the back. This will be all in the front. You can hang it on a wall. You can do whatever, sit on a shelf. And it will just be a super low power, hopefully, ESP temp thing. That's it. Let's check the DRC before we go. Got one. And it's not really anything. So then we'll check anything unconnected. Nope. So just that one, I think. I don't really even know. I think it's just because of this here, this overlap. Cool. So I'll be sending these off to order tonight. And we're just, whoa, almost at 3 hours, so should call it quits. That's quite the long stream. Should be getting a DigiKey order today, which is awesome. And I promise I'll be getting more projects to you have a couple of cool things I want to try out. I actually want to do like a retinal scanner with a neural network using a Raspberry Pi that'll like unlock maybe a safe or something. That'd be pretty cool, eh? There's this home automation thing that I'm working on. And I got a couple of videos coming out with some, not collabs, but I got a couple of projects that I'm working on with some YouTubers. And they're going to be pretty cool, so can't wait to show you. Hey Pratik, how's it going? Hope I pronounced your name right. Yes, there is an autorouter for KiCad, but I have never tried it, and I haven't really gone through the process to get it figured out, because I don't really like auto routing. Anyways, pretty good stream, and thanks everyone for coming out. It was awesome, and I'm going to be doing more giveaways and stuff, especially on my Patreon. More as in giveaways in general, because I always said I was going to. So I'm going to be giving away things like simple projects that I build in videos and stuff like that. And yeah, it's hopefully I can start doing more of that stuff. But when I'm in the middle of a project like the Kickstarter and working on other things that don't involve videos, it's hard to do. So I appreciate everyone who contributes and who's subscribed. It's great. And I will catch you next time. Thanks. See ya.